Okay, everyone, I'm going to call the December 4th, 2024 meeting of the Lake Quinsigamond Commission to order. Thank you all for coming. Doesn't look like we have a quorum, almost, but not quite. So
It might change, we'll see.
it may change. But regardless of that, we'll be able to get through the stuff we need to get through. It's some of the business done. I'm not going to ask if anyone has read the minutes or any of that stuff, but we're going to assume all of our folks have done that. And also I want to announce too that this is being filmed. It's live if you're at home. Hi. And you'll be able to watch it. Also to be recorded, so it'll be on the Shrewsbury Media Connection channel, all government channel, and also it'll be on YouTube. So you'll be able to watch it anytime, day or night, when you can't fall asleep. And the other thing we're not going to do is act on the expenses, bills and expenses, because we can't vote on it. We do have a couple, and we'll have to deal with those pretty soon. Public participation. I'm going to bring up two of our local high school students from Shrewsbury High School, Emily Chow and Beaver Anwar, sorry, and they're going to tell us about an initiative that they're doing for the lake. So come on up, ladies.
I thank the commission and I thank the chair.
Introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Dia Anwin. I'm a junior high school student at Shrewsbury High School.
And my name's Emily. I'm also a junior at Shrewsbury High School.
I am the proud founder of an initiative called Lake Watch Quinitiative. And at Lake Watch Quinitiative, we believe education leads to preservation. We believe in educating our future generation on the stormwater runoff and sewage pollution that Lake Quinsigamond endures, and fostering community engagement with Lake Quinsigamond through preservation efforts. And our end goal for our project is we want to create a documentary to shed light on these issues and share them to a larger community at large to inspire their own environmental protection that they want to do. We have 3 scopes to our project that we hope to push out by 2025. For our first branch, we want to create educational workshops where we provide hands-on learning experiences for all students K-12, where they can learn more about the environmental science aspect of our initiative, which is stormwater runoff and sewage pollution. And for our second branch, we want to host cleanups more regularly, where we address visible pollution that is adjacent to the water of Lake Quinsigamond, and we want to create community engagement through preserving Lake Quinsigamond. And our final branch that we want to focus on our initiative is we want to create a documentary where we shed light on the larger issues that affect Lake Quinsigamond, stormwater runoff and sewage pollution. We want to put it into a documentary, and we want to push it out to the larger community to not just educate, but also inspire the future generation to make changes within their own communities regarding any environmental issue. As for what we have started with our initiative, we had the honor to partner with the Green Club and host our very first cleanup at Gouch Park on November 24th. We were honored to partner with our Green Club, and we had over 20 volunteers come and help support us with our initiative. And with the success of our first cleanup, we're hoping to host another cleanup in early spring. We finalized on a date, March 15th. However, we are still looking for places we're still scouting places that we want to clean up, which I would ask the commission, if you have any suggestions or places that need to be cleaned up that are associated with the watershed, we would greatly appreciate any suggestions. However, we don't clean private property. We're strictly public, and that is something we plan to do, host a cleanup on March 15th. As for our educational workshops, we want to host educational workshops in both winter season and the spring season. For our winter season, we want to target middle school students. So we want to help our middle school students get hands-on learning experiences with the environmental aspect science part of our initiative, which is learning about stormwater and sewage pollution. We're planning to use an interactive map where we can help middle school our students visualize the pollution and how it happens, and we want to then conduct lab experiments where they scan for chemical and E. coli bacteria in the water and learn and understand how to connect those two separate things together. And in the spring season, we want to host interactive nature walks for our younger students where they can walk by Lake Quinsigamond and they can learn about not just the history but also the environmental aspect of portion of Lake Quinsigamond and get an understanding and learn about the community they live in, which is something we hope to do in the spring. Ultimately, we wanted to share our initiative with you since we believe that your commission and our initiative shares a common goal in protecting Lake Quinsigamond, and we believe with our love for Lake Quinsigamond, we can both achieve a goal here in protecting Lake Quinsigamond and helping our community appreciate it more, which is why we wanted to share this with you guys.
Is that it?
Yeah.
Is there any,
If you're looking for suggestions in terms of places you can maybe clean up, a couple of these places I suggest are maybe not public lands, but they're used by the public, and my thoughts are that the private property owners would probably not mind at all if you would help with cleanup. And that is if going, let me just say that right now the lake is at the lowest level it will ever be. It's 30 inches down plus. It has never been lower than it is today as I'm talking December 4th, 2024. That is because of the drawdown as well as because we're in a drought situation. The lake's down a solid 30 inches. Well, that's a lot of shoreline, depending on what part of the lake you're at, okay? Across from here, yes, it's the city of Worcester, there's a lot of exposed shoreline now that might be exposing a lot of trash. Keep moving down the lake, Buca de Beppo, whatever the Incarnate restaurant that it was, has a bunch of shoreline that a lot of public use, okay? Basically, the owner of the property lives in Rhode Island, and they probably would not mind at all if someone was to go over there by the brook and clean that area. Moving along on the other side of the bridge, behind the White City Plaza, there's a lot of exposed area now, and it's probably potentially trash. Although I'm not even suggesting Worcester in terms of Regatta Point State Park or Quinsigamond State Park. Then there's the areas, but it's a little more involved, off of Route 20 to the left and right in Shrewsbury, in the Edgemere area, that again, because the water is now down a solid 30 inches, there's a lot more shoreline that's now exposed, right now, December 4th. Now, come March 1st or March 4th, it'll be different. The lake's gonna start going back up, presuming that the drought is over and all that exposed shoreline, which may have God knows what, tires, bottles, cans, whatever, will be underwater again, and it won't be so easily accessible. But I just want to throw out to you a few. They're under the Route 20 bridge near the Market Basket. It is another area that might be looked at in terms of cleaning up. Again, if it doesn't snow deeply, it's supposed to be, although we're supposed to get an inch of snow here tonight, it's to be 50 degrees by Tuesday. Any snow might melt away, and again, you might have some exposed shoreline where you can see and it's safe enough to take away some unfortunate trash that's come into the lake over the course of the time. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you.
One suggestion is I just, off the top of my head, can just rattle all of that right off. Okay.
You'll have to watch the video to remember all that stuff.
Thank God this is recorded.
Yeah, anyone?
Any of that, that's great to hear that you cleaned up Gouch Park. But even on the other side of Gouch Park, that bit of shoreline where the bridge is there, right across the bridge, that shoreline probably has now a lot of exposed area where you can see stuff that you normally wouldn't see in terms of trash that's gotten into the lake over the course of time. So, thank you.
Thank you so much. Those are great suggestions.
Anyone else have any comments? No? Good. All right, so I have a couple comments. First, I want to say thank you for doing this. I'm a little concerned because, they have you, they may not need us anymore. If you're doing all the things you're going to do, it's a pretty bold agenda, I guess, that you're going to do all these initiatives and
Sounds great.
yeah, it really does. I'm really excited, and in full disclosure that Dia's in I coach speech and debate. And Dia's in one of my on my Congress squad, so we've had a chance to talk about this a lot. But it's nice that, and I think one of the most important things that's going to happen at the commission at any time is when you see the future get involved. And that's kind of what I'm seeing right now is that you guys are and I say this in one of the first things in a meeting. I'll ask them who's going to be the people running things in 15 years, and I get a lot of answers like they'll come up with some political person or something like that. Someone in the group eventually finds out realizes it's us. You guys are going to be around this in a few years, so that's a good thing, and I'm really inspired by that. Not to disagree with some of the stuff that Mr. Piker said, but I would. There are so many public spaces right now that you can clean up and not get involved. But the ones that he mentioned, though, an exclusion of that are at Buca. Buca is kind of abandoned.
Yeah.
The stream coming out of Buca actually is kind of a public space, we'll say. A lot of people go down there to go fishing and stuff like that, but folks, and you're off right off the Route 9 bridge. So, things go out the window and fly off in the parking lots and all that stuff. So that is an area that could use some attention because no one's giving it any attention. It's right there. The space in front of White City, I'm always annoyed that the people at White City don't keep that up better. And when the leaves come off the trees and the water goes down, it's really ugly over there. And there's some stuff that I'd prefer you not get involved in that particular piece of property there, because there's some kind of bad things going on in that part of the lake. But other than that, you have Oak Island. Mike was talking about that part of Route 20 at the Route 20 culvert, both on the east and west side, tend to get dirty all the time, and so those are all good spots. So we'll give you some guidance on that. I'm really excited. I'm hoping that you'll come back and give us some progress reports. Is that something you think you could do?
Yeah, Oak Island is a good point, Peter. A number of springs. There's been initiative for cleanup day in Shrewsbury, and Oak Island has been one of them. But every year when we go back there, it's just the trash has been recreated, and that's a Shrewsbury Concom area, and it's a big tract of area, and it's an area that's worth keeping up in terms of keeping clean.
Yeah, it's really a beautiful spot.
Yeah.
So it's nice, and it's fairly safe. So that's all good. I want to keep you guys.
And it's in Shrewsbury.
It's in Shrewsbury. So, and this doesn't necessarily. They're talking about doing stuff in the watershed, which I also think is admirable. That you're looking at the big picture, because we're not just affected. The lake isn't affected, or this resource isn't just affected by things along the shoreline. It is affected by things along the shoreline for sure. But anything in the watershed, we're spanned by 3 major highways. There's pipes literally coming out of the 290 bridge now. So every time we have runoff, anything that's on the road washes into Lake Quinsigamond. Same thing, although on the Burns Bridge they did put in vortex separators, and they have some mitigation there that allows them not to. The old bridge went down in the middle, so everything came out and washed to the middle. This one they kind of figured out after 116 years that they probably don't want to do it that way, they want 100 years, I guess it was. They want to do it the other way, so this bridge spans this way, so it's more thing, but everything goes to the ends of it. But it is an area right there.
Yep.
Um,
When I think of it, Eagle Head Cove condominium has a lagoon that stretches back into the whole development there.
right.
And that's been a eutrophied over the years, but
Right.
unfortunately, there's probably a percentage
also-
of trash there too.
That's also a brook that comes out of there.
Yes.
So there's a bunch of places, and we'll figure that out. You can't do everything, but
Yeah.
really, like I said,
Want suggestions? Those are suggestions.
I'm really excited that you're doing this, and I think it's a great thing, and I really, hats off to you guys. And, in a couple of years, come back and
Oh, yeah.
you can get on the commission,
Sounds exciting.
take over for us, so I can find something else to do on the, last Wednesday of the month.
We're thankful for your support.
Thank you so
bet.
much.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
I didn't have a comment, but I have a suggestion if I could.
Sure, of course.
You've obviously come to the commission here to talk to us, but what I wanted to suggest is there are a large number of other organizations that worry about cleaning up around Lake Quinsigamond. You probably talked to the town of Shrewsbury, and there's, of course, the city of Worcester as well, their Lakes and Ponds program. But in particular, the Lake Quinsigamond Watershed Association, which is different from the commission here. Those organizations generally organize cleanups and get the community involved in them, but they sort of avoid the 3 coldest months of the year. They're in the fall and spring mostly. So I would suggest, you get in touch with them and see, what you can coordinate with them, because the larger the group, the more effective it works.
Yeah, the more resources you can bring to bear. I believe you have been in contact with Barbara Sahagan.
Yeah, I
Yep.
have been in contact.
Okay, good. So yeah, she's the go-to person at the Lake Michigan Watershed Association. I know you just met Katie tonight. Also an integral part of our management of Lake Michigan. So without those 2 organizations with us, we couldn't do what we couldn't do what we get done. So it takes us, the 3. It takes a village to do it, I guess, not to sound corny, but without those 3 key organizations, we wouldn't be able to even get that going, I think. So the lake has gotten a lot better. So and it's gotten a lot better because of the efforts that Katie and Barbara, and the folks at the commission put into it. So great. Thank you so much for coming in. Appreciate it. Good job.
Thank you for hearing us out.
Thank you for having me on the hot
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. We got more?
Commissioners' reports. Is that what
Sorry.
it is?
It's blanked out there for a second. Okay, yep. Well, no, we already did that. We can't. So commissioners' reports. I'll start with you, Mr. Piker.
Well, as I've already
You got it.
enunciated, the lake is down as low as I've ever seen it, ever. And I've already went over it. It's due to the planned drawdown, but besides that, we are in a drought. I mean, I've driven by Wachusett Reservoir, and that shoreline is definitely visible, far more so than usual. Let's hope that this drought doesn't go on. An inch of snow is about 1/10 of an inch of rain, so what's going to happen predicted tonight isn't going to be a lot. Let's just hope that we get into some, rain that replenishes the watershed. The lake is down more so than ever because I think not just falling on the lake, but again, taking in the whole watershed, there's just a real paucity of rain. So that I noticed. Other than that, I've seen a lot of waterfowl. I mean, the eagles are around, the swans are spreading out into the lake, whereby I've noticed that when the boating traffic goes away, the swans come around. And there's a lot of waterfowl. There's transitory Canada geese. I'm seeing red-tailed hawks, all kinds of stuff. Water quality, it's not as turbid, probably because there's not as much activity in terms of stirring up the lake, but also there's not a lot of flow right now. You're coming into the lake, so it's just the clarity, you can see through it a lot better than usual. That's just an observation. Of that, Mr. Chair, it's been pretty quiet in the lake, and that's that. Thank you.
All right, thank you. What else?
Okay, I guess there are two topics I can mention. First of all, as everyone's probably noticed, the weather's a little colder. The rowing activity in the lake from all the boat clubs is essentially non-existent now. They're all indoors erging or at the tank at Holy Cross College rowing indoors. So that's over for the season, obviously. The second item, a little more detail. Grafton got a new police chief. The former police chief retired after 20 years, and so I asked for a meeting with him and had a very useful meeting with him. He didn't know that much about what the Lake Commission did. I guess I'll just hit 4 high points here, and was very appreciative of what we do, as we talked about what the Lake Commission has done in the past and wants to do in the future. The second thing is that he said he did look up the past couple of years of reports, and he could clearly say that as far as Grafton is concerned, they haven't had any complaints or law enforcement issues from any of the Grafton residents that live along the shores of Flint Pond. So he says that he sees no problem there. Third, we did talk about what goes on in law enforcement here, and he had to say, unfortunately, that on hot summer weekends, his department will be heavily overburdened. It's the hardest time for them, so he's not sure that they could ever provide any extensive manpower help on the lake on hot summer weekends because they're just overloaded then. Though I must admit myself, I don't think that makes it any different from any other police department, whether it's Shrewsbury or Worcester, so they're all in the same condition. Fourth, we talked about the Hansen bill. He didn't know that much about it. This is the bill before that passed the House, and it's before the state, the Senate. I haven't checked to see if it's where it's going in the Senate. Anybody who uses motorboats on lakes in Massachusetts should get a motorboat driver's license. And he didn't know that much about it. We talked about it for a while. He says he sounds like it's a great thing to do, and he'll support it. And so that's a very brief summary of my meeting with him.
All right. Thank you for doing that. I saw Lieutenant Vito shuffling his papers when you said he was too busy to do anything because he's sober.
Yeah, I know the feeling.
Yeah.
Yes.
Not too much to report. Really, all our equipment is buttoned up for the winter. The boat's shrink wrapped and tucked away in the back lot. Jet skis inside. All the safety buoys are out. So we're just waiting for the summertime.
Thank you for doing that. Were the buoys that you guys didn't get a chance to install, you didn't need?
No, we're gonna install the ones that were damaged this coming year.
Okay.
Yeah,
All
we
right.
didn't want to replace them, and then
Yeah, then they get damaged.
we had like 4 or 5 that were damaged.
Okay. I think we still have 2 at Marine USA. I only fit 8. I think we got 10 altogether or something. Whatever I got, I could fit all but 2 in the truck.
Yeah, we're gonna work over the winter probably and get those set up because we're gonna assemble them.
All right. Perfect.
So
Thank you.
it's on the agenda.
All right, perfect. And I want to say, this is the last meeting of the season, but and I know I've said this before, but you guys did an outstanding job this year, bringing the lake back around. I know that the Worcester PD did as well. I saw continues from Flint Pond saying thank you for that.
Major difference.
Major difference, and the jet ski in the water made a major difference. So, and it wasn't just Flint Pond; it was all over the lake. And some of it was because they couldn't hang out at Flint Pond, that they weren't getting over to the other side of the lake. So we kind of nipped it at the source. So that was an awesome thing. I know it. It sounds like really good duty that you're out riding around in a boat all day, but it's. I've witnessed some encounters that law enforcement has with some of the boaters, and it's brutal. I don't know how you keep it cool. So I really appreciate you doing all the stuff that you do, and I know it's probably that all said, it's probably one of the most unsafe duties because there's no backup, there's no way to do some of the things you can do on the street. So. It's admirable that you turned it around that quick. So please extend that also. And you personally, Mike, have done a bunch of things to advocate for the lake, so I really appreciate that. And please extend that also to the chief
Will
if
do.
he doesn't home watching this right now.
Will do, appreciate that.
So, awesome, thank you.
Thank you.
My report, besides that part of it, is, the lake is, it's winter time, it is down. I seem to recall that when they fixed the Iris Dam, it went down maybe a little bit more than it is right now, because it had a little bit more shoreline, but it is certainly down a lot. I don't know the other shallow areas on Lake Quinsigamond, how they fared, but Flint Pond has got ice. With that said, I'm going to warn or caution everyone, be very, very careful around the ice on Lake Quinsigamond this time of year, any ice probably. It may look inviting, but unless you're wearing a dry suit and flotation, I would not go out on it. Certainly don't put, strap any thing with, steel blades on and go out there with that. So just be careful of that. It's cool. I think probably by the midweek next week, a lot of it will be gone because of the temperatures are going to go back up, but just be very, very careful of that. And, from the lake management standpoint or vegetation management, and Katie will touch on some of this stuff going on, we're pretty much closed up, and there's not a whole bunch we can do for lake management except for the drawdown. Now that your shoreline is exposed, and we don't do the drawdown so you can clean up your shoreline. That's kind of like not the environmental reason for that. But if it's opened up and there's stuff, you see stuff out there, feel free to go out there with hand tools to do any work that you want to do out there. So if you want to rake up the leaves, get some of the debris out. There's always debris. I was out the other day walking around, and I found beer bottles and that weren't mine. I already took mine out earlier, but so there's all kinds of stuff. There's all kinds of treasure along the shore. So you can go down there. It's a great opportunity to do that. I know it's really, really cold, but it's still a good thing to do.
Yeah,
I
there's
can't-
a few of us at Flint that every year go around the perimeter.
Oh, you walk around the perimeter?
Yeah, and because of the drought, we can pretty much make it over your house. I mean, it's unbelievable how far
Yeah.
we can make it around.
Well, you
Not quite that.
you have to wait a little bit
Yeah,
from
exactly.
from the end of the
Exactly.
point there
It's
over to the but you probably could almost, yeah.
Yeah, the Quinsigamond River is more like the Quinsigamond Brook right now.
Yeah.
If I can reiterate, Mr. Chair, we all, as abutters to the lake, we all have to assume some stewardship in terms of cleaning up. And with this opportunity of the drawdown, a lot of exposed shoreline, hopefully people can take some initiative and go out there and do just that, which Chairman Collins just said, and that is, pick up the inevitable cans, bottles, and/or tires that you now see that otherwise you never noticed because they were underwater. I mean, there's no agency that's going to come along the whole shore of the lake and just clean up all that stuff. That's any fantasy you have of that is just that, a fantasy. So I encourage people to show some stewardship like that. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. I think I would say probably most people go out there because they're proud of their waterfront, and they do take ownership, sometimes a little bit too much ownership on stuff, but but that's one thing I want to keep my waterfront safe. It's my family out there walking around in their bare feet, and when the water comes back up, so I want to make sure it's as safe as I possibly can make it. So that's all good. And we're dealing, and I don't know how much Katie's going to go over this, but we're working right now. There's a couple of things going on. One is we're working on the permit process to do a drawdown at Newton Pond. Newton Pond is directly part of the Lake Quinsigamond watershed, but it's about half a mile that way up the stream there. So we want to do a drawdown there. That dam is actually owned by the town of Shrewsbury, so that part of it's okay, but we still have to go through the state. The drawdown process the permit process is a little onerous in that they really, require you to do all kinds of studies and tests and all this other stuff that become expensive and time consuming. So we're trying to go through that now. It's long overdue. I apologize for the folks in Newton Pond that we haven't got this done before this. Also, with that said, that the permits that we had for herbicide treatment there expired. So we're going through that process as well. So we're going to update all that. We're also going through the process of updating our permits for Shrewsbury, Grafton, and Worcester for the permits for herbicide treatments and management that we have here on the regular lake and Flint Pond. So that's exciting stuff. We're hoping to get a little bit more, and I don't want to jinx it, but we're hoping to get a little bit more areas treated in the next season that we've been able to do in the past. So all good stuff. And again, I couldn't do it without the help from Worcester Lakes and Ponds, for sure. So I think that's it for my stuff.
Update from Katie Limey.
And
Mr. Chair?
Yep.
A comment, I waited till you finished, but going back onto the question of unsafe ice.
Mhm.
I just learned from the...
It's okay if rowers come out there.
No. The Quinsigamond Rowing Club, that they put together a whole collection of new shot videos on the problems of hydrothermia, from the Coast Guard, the rowing associations, and other safety organizations. The newer results show that you can get paralyzed in cold water so much quicker than they used to think. And so the only point I'm saying this is they have got all of these short videos of the dangers of falling in cold water and hydrothermia on their website. So you just go to the Quinsigamond Rowing Club website, and they're urging all of their rowers to look at every one of the videos. It's probably just as wise for anyone around the lake to look at those videos as well.
Okay, so I'm going to expand this a little bit because I have some personal experience with this. I've been in the cold water. It wasn't even ice water, actually. And I can tell you this, that it literally sucks the breath. It gets up to your chest, it'll suck the breath right out of you. Not in a minute, in like the second it hits you. So that's the first thing you do. So luckily for me, I wasn't submerged. My head wasn't submerged at the time. But I can tell you if I was, my mouth would have been open and it would have been filled with water. So, and that's how you drown, when the water gets in your lungs. So it is a real thing. The problem also with the ice is that this particular ice out there is my belief. I haven't been out there and tested it, but just from the past, I'm going to say that it's not safe enough to walk on, but it's still not easy to break. So just with your hands. So if it won't take your weight, but if you try to chop through that with your hand to get out of the ice, it's going to be a difficult thing to do. So I would just stay off the ice. It's my message to everyone right now. Is just please stay off the ice. And even in regular cold water in the spring, you go into water and it's 40 degrees. It will it will suck your breath. Yeah, it'll suck the breath right out of your lungs.
Mr. Chair, can I follow up on that?
Sure.
I also had a personal experience. Back when I was in college rowing in an 8, we hit an iceberg in the middle of February right in front of the Riverside Boat Club on the Charles River. And as we all stood up in the boat went down, so the water slowly came up to our waist. In that minute, a minute and a half, we could barely feel and make our legs move. And if it hadn't been for another college's coach's boat coming by and pulling us out one after another, I don't know what would have happened. But it was practically instantaneous.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you made it. But there you go. And that can happen not just on a crew boat. That can happen in any kind of vessel you're out there. So snowmobile or whatever this. These two are broken in half. I don't think that was an iceberg, but they did that on purpose. But it's wise to stay away from it at this point. And even when the ice is hard, when it's safe, you got to be careful out there. So, Katie?
Good evening, everyone. Hopefully I'm a familiar face by now, but my name is Katie Liming. I'm the Lakes and Ponds Coordinator for the City of Worcester. I don't have too many updates tonight. We have we wrapped up our sampling season at the end of October. Bless you. So
Bless you.
we're very deep in data analysis currently. We're wrapping up our winterization plans. We're planning ahead for next year as well. So we don't yet have any results to share about lake health this past year compared to previous years, but we're excited to be doing that analysis right now. We don't yet, so every year we host an annual event that we call State of the Lakes. It's an event that we use to report on the health of lakes in Worcester, including Lake Quinsigamond, as well as share program updates. It's not officially confirmed for date or location, but I anticipate that we'll be holding it in late January. So I don't know if we'll have another meeting before before State of the Lakes, but I'll certainly be sharing that invitation by email, and hope to see you all there if you're interested. For other updates, as the chair mentioned, we're working together to update the Natural Heritage project plan. So that is a plan that needs to be renewed every 5 years. I think that most of the management measures can remain the same with a couple updates. One, it would be ideal to include the area of the lake just north of Gouch Park in part of the management plan, since that area has been increasingly impacted by water chestnut. As Barbara mentioned, after a water chestnut volunteer poll over the summer, that area is getting a lot more intense and might need some more advanced management measures. So mechanical harvesting could be a candidate for that area. However, that decision needs to be definitely verified by some plant mapping, because I suspect that there's also invasive milfoils in that area of the lake, and so if we take a mechanical harvester, that would just spread it and make it a lot worse. So herbicides for water chestnut would be another option. The volunteer polls accomplished a lot, but the growth up there is just so dense. It's really difficult to get it all out with volunteers alone. Mm-hmm. At least on the scale that we've been able to harness currently. So I've been talking with the chair about getting that process started to get that planning done over the winter and hopefully get project approval over the winter, so that we're able to set management goals and set a management plan very early, so that they're in place to be executed in July and August. There's, like any government, any official agency, there's always so much paperwork to do. Things move very slowly, so definitely looking forward to support planning in advance as we can. For other updates relevant to Lake Quinsigamond from my program, I've been mentioning how we have released an RFP to pursue watershed-based plans for watersheds in Worcester, including Lake Quinsigamond. We contracted with Comprehensive Environmental Inc., which is a pretty small local consulting firm who has extensive expertise in doing these kinds of assessments. We're really excited to be launching this project, and we've already met with a consultant, so we're hoping to be announcing stakeholder meetings as well. We'll be looking to develop a model of the watershed to identify how nutrients are moving through the watershed and identify potential sources. So stakeholder engagement will be very important in identifying potential sources of nutrients and solutions as well. So stay tuned for requests, hopefully, if you're interested in getting involved with that. And then the last project that I have been providing updates on as we've gone along, we secured a contractor to install 2 particle separators that will discharge into Lake Quinsigamond. So Peter mentioned one on a bridge, I think. But for anyone who's not familiar with it, it's a unit that gets installed in line in a stormwater drain, slows down stormwater as it enters the unit, and allows particles sediment to settle down to the bottom, and there's a type of hood that goes over the pipe that lets the water through that prevents any floating trash from getting out. So it treats the water to a certain extent and allows us to remove pollutants before they get to the lake. So we'll be installing 2 of those. We're still in final contracting phases, so we don't have like a project timeline yet, but hoping to get some of the work started, even if it's just a test pit before things totally freeze up, but installation would more likely happen in the spring. Those are all the updates I have for tonight. Yes.
Question, is the sediment and trash separator a total passive device, or does it require some active power or something?
It's completely passive. Yeah.
Completely passive, okay.
Yeah, so it's just, it just works through physics. The way it's constructed, it has kind of a swirl chamber, so the water enters, it hits a wall, and it swirls around and slows down. Things settle out, and then it exits the other side. So maintenance is pretty low. You can access it just by a manhole. Usually they get vacuumed out once a year, but the frequency depends on how dirty the water is.
Okay, so it operates totally on the physics of fluid dynamics.
Yeah.
You all set?
Yep.
Yep. Just on that, who is going to be cleaning it up?
So it'll be part of the City of Worcester stormwater infrastructure. So our stormwater and sewers department division we'll just put them on their normal maintenance schedule.
They must love you for that.
Yeah, that would be my question, so that's a good thing.
All right, okay, perfect. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
You don't have to.
Yeah, that's right. Or stand up and clap if you can. Give it the whole treatment. Thanks, Katie. Barbara's not here. There's no one from the watershed here, right? No. All right. So
No
no update for those guys. Review correspondence. I looked at most of it, but there we go. So we have
Sunset Lane.
Sunset Lane, we got an issue there. There was an issue with the Conservation Commission. I believe they asked them to remove the dock that they had put in there because they did it without the proper process. So, I think, I believe that they'll probably put another dock in that because Sunset Lane is really nice property, kind of sticking out over by Sunset Beach on the west side of the channel there, the west side of the Stringer Dam. So there's that, and I think that's all. This is all the same.
That's it.
That's about it. So that said, our next meeting.
I put a date in January just to remind myself, but if you don't want to meet in January, that is fine.
All right, let's put that in there, pencil it in. February for sure.
Okay, the last Wednesday of February, there's a conflict with school committee,
Yeah.
so we will either need to move it up a week or take another day.
What about the
Please.
police station?
I have not reached out to them yet, but I can,
All right.
What's the date?
the 26th.
26th to
February
I
26th.
heard there is another person in charge of scheduling at the police station.
Yeah, but
I will take a
Might
look
be
at the
going
calendar
straight.
and reach out. So tentative on January.
anything you can do to help us out.
February what?
February 26th.
26, February 26, 20.
It's that one, yeah.
Yeah, the last Wednesday of the month.
That is free.
So with that,
It's free.
In
It's free?
February.
Yes.
all right,
Okay,
so far. So let's pencil in for that. Is it? And we can you have the contact person at the.
I have I'll email them for consistency.
All right, we're not going to vote on to adjourn because we can't. So it doesn't mean it make a difference. So I'm going to adjourn the meeting. So the meeting's adjourned. Thank you all for coming.